defense, and then Kayla McGarity, who's a double-double machine, coach's daughter, smart player. They're just a powerhouse, and they always find a way to win tight games.
And then yesterday we watched for a second time West Michigan Hornets, and Thomas, you got to kind of get a look at them, and what a tough team they are, pretty much 10 deep as they came out yesterday and made it all the way now as far as they've ever made it before.
Yeah, it was interesting watching them yesterday. What struck me early with them was their defense. It's almost like a pack line man-to-man, and they just gave up almost nothing in the paint early. They were forcing the team to shoot outside shots, not letting them in the paint. It's going to be interesting against San Marcos because they're so physical, and kind of who's going to win. There's a very disciplined defense on one side, than San Marcos, such a physical team. So I think we're headed for a great matchup tonight.
Getting ready to tip it off. And if you are scoring at home as the tip goes to San Marcos, they've had a jersey change for West Michigan. Here's a three to start things off by Herta that's no good. Tally Leskowski and Ashley Ayers have switched, so 15 and 13 will be a little different than they were the last game. At the other end, here come the Hornets on the attack. That shot is no good by Dobie Cochran, the All-American.
Something to watch. They got out very quick there. There's a significant size advantage for San Marcos. They like to play fast, but sometimes if they have to run up down too much, Beck might get a little tired, and her and McGarity might get in foul trouble. That's something to keep an eye on.
San Marcos once again, Pena will run things for the defending champs. Here's McGarity. Takes it all the way from the three-point line and rolls off the left side. Hornets come down with the board. Both teams scoreless first minute here. West Michigan now on the attack in the black uniforms against San Marcos in the white. Kind of a rush shot there by Dobie Cochran, but she gets it back. And up top with a reset is Jaden Rodimer. Oh, nice find underneath, but she is cut off quickly by Genovese. Doesn't matter, able to roll that in. And that is number 13. This is Ashley Ayers. They have switched jerseys, her and Laskowski, but Ashley Ayers there with the bucket.
Rodimer was doing that last night time and time again, hitting backdoor cutters for easy baskets. She had 4 assists on backdoor cuts yesterday and already off to a quick start again tonight.
And if you're watching San Marcos for the first time wondering why the 6'3" player there took a three, that's something she absolutely can do and handle the ball there.
Ashley Ayers with the steal for West Michigan.
They are pesky.
All 10 players play, and then that time the shot.
San Marcos does not play their bench a whole lot, at least in games that I have seen. And so that might become an issue with depth here. The pace of the game so far, we expected to have contrasting paces in the last game, but this one, both teams really like to get up and down, it looks like.
First shot is good. Now, actually, we've been given a conflicting information. We're going to go back with the originals. This is actually Laskowski. That was before they got the first bucket. Now it's Ayers at the free throw line. We were told they switched jerseys, and you know how that is with high school kids, coaches. You never know. Ball is knocked out of bounds on the miss. West Michigan.
Amy, you were mentioning pace earlier, and what's interesting now, these girls are now playing game 4 or 5 in 4 days, and so it's curious to me watching the boys' games earlier, like how the legs are looking at this point in the tournament. It's not in high school season. You don't necessarily play it like this consistency and in this tempo.
Hornets with another steal, and once again a second chance opportunity. That's unusual against San Marcos.
Good job going vertical there by McGarity.
Here's W. Cochran up top. That one's strong. Rebound comes off, and finally San Marcos keeps them from getting another opportunity. Here comes Pena, going to push the pace. Over on the left side, the All-American Herta for 3. No good. Rebound, though, by Beck. Genovese.
Expect her to keep shooting. She's a nearly 40, maybe over 40% three-point shooter on the season.
They have so many weapons. Beck, Genovese, we saw her last night connecting, and then McGarity down low. Spins out, but her jumper won't go. And then on the rebound, a push in the back.
For a large portion of last season, I don't know the stats this year, but Maddie Herta was the top three-point shooting guard in the state of Texas. Not in homeschool basketball, for private, public, everybody, for the most of the season last year.
Aubrey Ayers' first foul. There's another miss.
Very
so far, San Marcos scoreless. First few minutes here in this national Final Four game, girls 18U. Dobie Cochran with a 3. And wow, West Michigan jumps out to a 6-0 start.
This has been kind of a consistent thing here in this tournament for San Marcos. They've gotten out to a lot of slow starts.
there you go. When you're having trouble scoring, you know who can. The All-American, Kayla Johns-McGarity, averaging 13.5 points, 11 rebounds a game. Quickly the other end. There's another three, this time by Leskowski.
Getting out to that corner three in transition.
9-2 right now. West Michigan with the early lead in this one. On the drive, Kendall Beck, and oh, they get her for the charge. Set up inside was Ashley Ayers, and she draws the foul on Kendall Beck.
They're making some defensive assignment changes from the bench there on San Marcos. There's been a little bit of confusion, I think, on a couple possessions. Pace of the game and tired legs, I think, was a big issue in our last game we did, the first semifinal game today. So
Hornets working it around. Ayers thought about a three, takes it in on McGarity, loses control of the ball. McGarity did a good job to hold her ground.
And to stay vertical. She's a coach's kid there. Good, smart play.
Gotta love that. So we'll see if that comes into play. One of the strengths of the Hornets is all 10 players play, and their first round game is another turnover now for the Panthers. Uncharacteristic. But in their first game in the semis to get the gold ball, 9 out of their 10 players scored, and each of them had 7 or more points. So this is a team that has a lot of weapons. They really thrive on a lot of pressure and being able to use that depth. And then a cutter underneath. Leskowski takes it from Rodimer again.
Guys like Rodimer on the backdoor cuts. It's like it's a dribble at, and it's either a handoff or a backdoor, and she is diming that pass. I've been watching the second game now. I think I've seen 6 assists off that play.
They've got that one down, don't they?
They do.
There's Herta for 3. You knew you weren't going to keep her quiet for long.
You know, it's interesting though. It's like the Hornets are content to give that shot up, but they're not going. Watch the help defense. It's so packed in the lane, and it's going to be difficult. You got to give up something, right? And it seems like they're content to do so on the half court.
Ayers for 3. That's the third different player to hit a 3 here in this quarter, and West Michigan has used their shooting to go out to a 14-5 lead on the defending champs.
You can tell they are not intimidated. They're very up for this game. You know, sometimes, oh, what a pass by Beck.
Beautiful interior pass.
By Beck.
Beck to McGarity, and that stops the bleeding, 14-7.
Sometimes the defending champs, you're going to get everybody's best. They're up for this game. Everybody's familiar with their game. So can they settle in here? And I'm wondering, I don't know that I've ever seen San Marcos play a zone, you know, the shooting is a lot here, but I wonder if they got to make some sort of adjustment to stop all this cutting.
Well, 14 points in the first 5 minutes is not what you want to see from a defensive effort. So, yeah, you're going to watch the adjustment come out of this first quarter, I'd imagine.
Dobie Cochran missed that 3 from the corner. Ball back to the Panthers. Pena going to patiently work her way around. Oh, and there's a tip away once again by Ayers. Active hands. Takes it all the way as she chases it down and rolls it in. What a game for Ashley Ayers, her 6th point already.
Yeah, I think I might take a timeout here.
That defense is really causing some havoc for the Panthers.
And San Marcos can score in bunches, but I don't want it to get out of hand here in the first quarter if I'm coaching it. I don't like their body language. They seem a little bit on their heels with this pace and the number of players coming in and out.
We talked about depth. Hornets bringing in Shea Vanderway, also Naomi Wyman. They're going to do that all night.
We don't have the benefit of rosters with height, but they are significantly undersized here. But just moving as a well-oiled machine, both on offense and defense.
We talked about it earlier. Michigan State of basketball, girls basketball, is just phenomenal right now. You've got West Michigan up there.
Oh, good look.
You've got Chap, who just has moved on to the national finals in D2, and a miss and a rebound. And then you got the Hornets. So, I mean, they're used to playing a couple of tough teams just right away in their own vicinity. So by the time they get here to nationals, it really helps them. That's an advantage usually the Panthers have with such a tough schedule they play in Texas. Hornets with the ball, leading 16-7. Kind of a wild shot by Wyman there. Rebound comes off the Beck. Here comes the Panthers on the attack. Herta going to push it. Up ahead is McGarity. Nice run. Nice find. McGarity's 6 point.
She is a very high percentage player, finishing around the basket, a double-double threat every single night. And one I believe is uncommitted. And I am surprised by that information. She should be on a college roster somewhere next year.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Up ahead again off the mess, or the turnover rather. Here comes McGarity. She's tripped up in the lane. That's going to be a foul on Shea Vanderway. So, Thomas, they've kind of absorbed that first punch. If you're the Panthers and you've got the championship medal, how does that help you in these kind of situations?
Well, look, shots are going down early for the Hornets, and so it's one of those things that if you can take that punch and rebound out, you're on good footing because they're playing their game, and you've noticed the last 4 points have come in transition. And so, if I'm playing against the Hornets here, I would have to – I don't want to play against this half-court defense. We mentioned the size advantage. One thing that they're doing, they're switching every ball screen and away screen. And so there's mismatches, but right now San Marcos has not been patient enough to capitalize on the switches. What you want to do is when they get a guard on there, and that's causing a lot of havoc. So if you're San Marcos right now, push and transition and then find the mismatch.
Another attack, but that time Wyman's shot is too strong. They get a second chance. That is Vanderway.
She can't hustle there. They came up with 2 offensive rebounds when San Marcos was in position and bigger.
Here comes McGarity again, another break. Her shot is short, but there was contact. That's going to be 2 on Vanderway. And you mentioned, Amy, they don't have a ton of height. Vanderway's one that comes off the bench, and she's already drawn 2 quick fouls here in the first period.
Well, I think the strategy defensively, as you mentioned, for the Hornets, switching is smart because it's not like they have somebody out there Beck size. You might as well go small. They do their work early, making it mix it up, make it tough, and they've done that so far.
She'll get one more, 16-9. Second one's good. McGarity now with 7 of her team's 10 points. 16-10, early lead for West Michigan. Less than 30 seconds to go here in this first period of the girls' 18U Final Four.
For San Marcos, it's hard. Like, they won last year, and it's like a target, right? And once you've won, everyone's gunning for you. They're watching you. They're saying, how am I going to beat this team? And so it's difficult to win back to one championship alone, much more a second one. So, this early swing is not surprising. It's going to be interesting how San Marcos responds.
After another putback by Laskowski, Beck for the Panthers tried to end the quarter with a shot, but it fell short, and that's the way it's going to end. A little bit of a shocker here early. West Michigan leading San Marcos 18-10. We'll be back with the girls' 18U Final Four semi right after this. Coming back to you live from the 32nd Annual Christian Homeschool Basketball National Championships. Scott Staten alongside Amy Curtis and Thomas Sanders, and we have watched the West Michigan Hornets, the upstart team that's made it deeper than they've ever made it in this tournament, in this national Final Four game, taking on the defending undisputed national champs. And boy, they have come out on fire, 18-10 as we enter this second period.
Worth mentioning, there's a huge rebounding advantage for the Hornets despite their lack of size. They're out rebounding them 13-6 and also winning the turnover battle. The Panthers have 5 only to 2.
Boy, that can make a difference. And then there's Dovie Cochran. She's connected on a 3. That time she drove and spun one on the left side. And lead up to 10 now, 20-10. We've seen the Panthers this whole tournament trail in most of their games. There's a good answer, though.
And that is why they're never out of a game right there. I saw her drop 30 on a main court at a live period event last summer.
I believe it.
With probably 100 college coaches on the baseline.
Been some great performances here. Laskowski works her way around into the paint. Her shot is no good. Once again, battling for an offensive board. And as they go to the ground, that's going to be a foul on Genovese.
Look, West Michigan, give them credit. They've come out swinging up 7 early in the second quarter, and honestly, they're acting like they expect to win this game.
Right.
Absolutely.
They've got that look to them, don't they? And that was their target. That was their goal when they.
Well, and it's interesting. It's without, maybe some of the star power that San Marcos has. It's really a team defense, team offense, back cuts, like just good basketball. And like we said, how is this team out rebounding San Marcos 13-6 coming out of the first period? It's shocking.
Here comes Beck on the attack.
They're not just out rebounding, but it seems to me that everybody on their team can get a shoulder by everybody on San Marcos.
There's another steal. That time it was Molly Hunt. Molly Hunt to Laskowski. Laskowski takes it all the way in, and that was Wyman, Naomi Wyman.
Kendall Beck probably lucky she didn't get a foul there, kind of swinging at that. Didn't have much chance to get it.
They're causing turnovers. They're getting second chance opportunities and doing all the things it takes to pull an upset. Here's McGarity. She's been the solid constant here, but her shot is missed up close. Molly Hunt pulls down the board.
So I think San Marcos is really going to have to evaluate their offense coming in this next quarter. Hornets are switching everything, and they're not taking the time to capitalize on these mismatches. Just going from one play to the next. It's almost like you're just running back and forth.
Right.
Slow this thing down. Find shots that you want. You have players in isolation who can score, but you've got to get them in spots where they can do so.
Hornets going to bring it under their basket, and the way they play and the pressure they put on defense, sometimes they can almost force you into their pace. And they want to shoot a lot. They want to take a lot of shots, bang the boards. And that time, though, it's the defense of the Panthers. Knock it out of bounds off of Ashley Ayers. Panthers will get it back, trailing by 9, 6:06 here in the second. Is this the kind of thing we said this tournament, the Panthers kind of came in and really, I don't want to say they played flat, but they usually turn it on when they need to, but they've had deficits in almost every game they've been in.
Yeah, but you keep playing with this, and you're playing with fire on this thing. Now you're down 9 in the first half against a good team, and you picked the wrong night to do so, and you may not be able to climb back in.
Kind of like the Warriors in a couple years, Sometimes it worked and you can turn it on, and then a couple times it came back and bit you when you lost games that you should have won.
Yes.
And you don't have the benefit of a 7-game series here, so you've got to.
It's March Madness. One and done. Herta that time missed the shot, but chased down her own rebound. Her team with another opportunity. Into the game, number 30, Cami Jackson.
Look at this defensive pressure. I mean, it is nothing easy right now. Everyone is swarming.
Yep.
I feel like now Maddie Herta needs to get the ball, control tempo, and find a shot that her team needs right now.
What's interesting is they had some really close battles with the CHSM Knights at district, state, and regionals. And in all of those games, I thought the difference down the stretch was that the Panthers were able to set something up and execute. And I don't see that at all.
We're not doing that right now. Right now, it's kind of like they're allowing the Hornets to dictate how they're playing. Yeah. They're not playing their game.
Panthers back on offense. They kept it at this end. Pena works her way around the perimeter, can't find a seam, and once again, Ayers with a hand on the ball. They feed it to Beck, goes down the left side of the paint, scoops it up and in.
There's a shot that San Marcos wants. They get an isolation at the high post with Kendall Beck, and she can score one-on-one. But right now, that's involving them getting composure, getting a shot that they can score with.
And they reversed the ball in that possession, had a little more patience. Your percentage goes up significantly if you make the defense play defense for more than 7 seconds. They haven't done that enough today.
Laskowski again. Wow.
I got to see – we got to make some sort of defensive adjustment here.
11 points for Laskowski. Herta's 3 is off to the right, but Pena hauls it in for the Panthers. They'll get a second chance opportunity.
And that Herta 3, that would be the exception. I take that every time.
Here's
She's a
Beck.
40% shooter.
No good. Battle for the board. Here come the Hornets again. They lead it by 9, 4:19 to go, second quarter.
One of the things I think defending champ, it's harder to win twice. I think maybe everybody looks a little tight to me, like they're trying to do just a little bit too much.
Sure.
They're an unselfish team. They usually move the ball well. Kendall Beck, I mentioned McGarity is a double-double every night. Kendall Beck is a threat to be a triple-double on a regular basis with rebounds and assists. I think they can use her playmaking to open Herta. I think, Herta normally finishes great around the rim. I don't know that she's had any looks at the rim. We've got to get some more movement to make that happen.
Kobe Cochran goes out. Here's Aubrey Ayers. She fires up a college 3. That's too long, and that's going to go out of bounds. You've also seen Beck. That was her first points, but right before that, maybe what jump-started her, she's had a couple of blocks these last 2 possessions, and that sometimes can get one of your players going when they get a good defensive play, and then They're able to put a bucket in, their first one of the night, so let's see if that gets her going. Here comes Genevieve on the attack with the left hand, kisses it off the glass. That's a pretty shot.
Nice attack there. And again, as flat as they've looked, they have not let it get away from them yet. Yeah.
They're only down 7, so if you go in this, if this would be halftime right now, if you're San Marcos, you would take that because you've not. It feels more distant than what the score shows.
You certainly don't want to get that foul there, though.
Avery Pena with the bump as Rodimer was dribbling it. Bringing it in from the sideline is Molly Hunt. Rodimer will set things up for her Hornet squad out of West Michigan. A little bit west of Detroit. And nice cutter again underneath. Ayers had to throw it up over her head from the opposite side and couldn't get the reverse to go. McGarity rips off the board and kicks her team into high gear. Good find with Beck, but Beck can't convert, and the ball's tipped out of bounds off of the hands of Molly Hunt.
McGarity also a capable passer at her size. That was a good look. I like that look. And that's the first time. It feels like that's the first miss down here for.
Yeah.
I know it's not, but it feels like it.
It does.
From the inside.
Here's Beck. Stops and pops. Oh, in and out, halfway down. And then we got a whistle and another foul on the Panthers. Let's see who that was on. Number 15.
Maybe that's McGarity.
McGarity. 24-17. The West Michigan Hornets have held a lead this entire quarter. They came out on fire. Panthers have started to settle down just a little bit more, but that lead is still at 7, under 3 minutes to go. Here's Ayers for 3, off to the right. Oh, battling for the board, Molly Hunt, and she was fouled as her arm was being held, it looked like, by Maddie Herta. Nope, they're going to give it to Genevieve, looks like.
Is that her second?
That's either her second or third, and I think that's her third.
So battle of styles, we mentioned this early. Number 42 on San Marcos, Jaden Colley, I believe is her first time in the game. I think it's only her 7th player from San Marcos we've seen in.
Yep.
Whereas West Michigan's already rolled, I think, 10 off their bench.
Yep, they have.
There's another backdoor cut for West Michigan.
Okay.
But Ayers that time got a little bit in a rush before she got the shot off.
Before the previous play, I was about to compliment McGarity because she moved her feet better, which stopped the drive, which didn't get an easy look. But there, again, Hornets getting a shoulder by. Fortunately for the Panthers, they traveled, but they had an advantage.
Beck backs down both players, but she missed everything. Right there to pull it in was McGarity. But then I guess she stepped out of bounds. It did not say it was a foul. And so another turnover. And back into the game now, Cammie Jackson for the Panthers. Yeah, the bench of the Hornets, I actually double-checked, and all 9 out of 10 players have scored in every game they played this week.
Wow. Look at that.
So that just gives you an idea that they're all in the system. They know, and you can tell on a lot of those backcourt passes, it's something they do a million times in practice. They kind of know where each other's going to be, and the parts are interchangeable. Hornets with the ball. Here comes Ayers down the lane. Almost drug her foot again. Looking for Dovey Cochran's shot. Dovey Cochran can't get it to go. And then a tumble, and the ball rolls out. Ayers battles for it. There's a dive on the floor. We're going to have a jump ball, and that gives it to the Panthers.
Again, I wonder about making a defensive adjustment here. Even though they seem to be good shooters, we don't have fancy stats like you would in a college game, but kind of like the NCAA tournament, I imagine the shooting percentage from 3 in this building is lower than everywhere else because of the difference in the line and the larger space. I think you have to see if they execute as well against a different kind of defense as they do.
McGarity from the free throw line. That one's no good, and Ayers pulls it down. We got a jump ball. It'll switch it back, and coming back into the game is Kendall Beck. Yeah, Amy, I think, Thomas, we talked about that a little bit yesterday. I know Jesse did too in our broadcast, that some of the players have talked about it and coaches, like you have to adjust, but there's definitely a difference shooting in this kind of building when you're not used to it.
Well, you're playing in an arena, not a gymnasium, and so the depth perception is entirely different, not only from top of the key, but also in the distance on the side. And so for players who haven't been in an arena before, it's an entirely different experience.
And then you have the different line, which as a coach, no matter how many times I tell my girls that, they end up one step behind the longer line. So maybe they can shoot from that distance, but then they're way further than that. And it just affects percentage.
We've seen that too. Here's Ayers again. Her 3 is no good. And the ball will stay at this end. Yeah, we've had that discussion where You almost wonder if they don't need to tell them, hey, the red line is not your line. You can take a step in and you're going to be fine. But most of the threes we've seen this week have been behind both.
I promise that the coaches have told them. In the heat of the moment, you're just coming up in rhythm and you don't realize how far you pulled up. Yeah.
You look down and that's what you kind of see in your peripheral. Here comes Wyman. She is double teamed, but gets it back to Ayers at the top, who will reset it. 1:11 to go. 7-point lead. We've been stuck on this score, seems like forever. Here comes Rodimer.
How many 50-50 balls do we think the Panthers have gotten in this game?
Not many. Here comes Cochran, lays it in. Nice touch off the backboard. She has got 7 already, and the lead back up to 9. 50 seconds to go here. First half. Here's Herta, All-American. You go back to the one you know.
And that's a difficult shot, but my concern if San Marcos does not slow this thing down and get some better shots, you're not going to live on that kind of shots. Dribble up, float, contested floater, so she can make that shot, no doubt. But you're starting to sense that they're feeling a little bit of this pressure heading into halftime down 7. And, man, if you're San Marcos, like, we know who we are. Get composure and get our shots. Do not let their defense dictate our offense.
Wyman took a step in after the cross-court pass. Her shot missed everything. Panthers pull down the board. They'll have the last shot. 16 seconds to go here, first half. The defending champs trailing 26-19. West Michigan trying to get the stop here to end the half. Here's Pena, clock winding down. They feed it into McGarity, puts it up and in.
Tough shot.
And that's a great ending there.
Makes it a 5-point game. You have to be happy with that if you're San Marcos.
You will take it. 9 points in the first half for McGarity, but it's still the West Michigan Hornets leading at the half. 26-21 in this girls' 18U National Final Four game. We'll have the second half of action after a halftime break. Welcome back to second half action here at the 32nd Annual Christian Homeschool Basketball National Championships. Scott State and Amy Curtis, Thomas Sanders courtside here at Drury University. And in the first half, guys, West Michigan Hornets came out against the defending champs and really just kept throwing haymakers. But they only lead it by 5 as the Panthers whittled that down with a big shot right before the half.
Huge rebounding advantage still for the Hornets, 18-11.
Panthers on the attack in the white uniforms with the black and gray trim. And for the Hornets, they have the black uniforms with the red trim, a little bit of gray on there. On the long pass, Genevieve reels it in. She had to sit in the first half with a couple of fouls, and then that time it was stolen away by Dovie Cochran for the Hornets. Here come the Hornets. We've seen them be able to cause turnovers in that first half. They continue to do that. Ayers goes up with a shot and draws the contact from Kendall Beck.
I thought she was pretty straight up there, but Ayers did a good job of drawing that.
See, San Marcos, I think the challenge they're going to have this second half is finding their shots. So far, they're allowing West Michigan to dictate their offense. And what you're seeing now is 4 shots and turnovers. If they can slow down, get into their rhythm, you're going to start seeing the benefit of – they have some star players out here that can really get buckets for them in right situations. But so far, they've not been patient enough to find those moments for each of those players.
Ayers with her 7th point, now her 8th. Boy, they've been money at the free throw line, and they have really started to establish that this is not a fluke. Hornets right now with a 7-point lead. 7 minutes to go, just a little over that. Panthers on the attack. Pena will run things as she does normally for San Marcos. Dribbles down the left side, puts up a right-handed shot that's no good. Rebound off to Aubrey Ayers.
Pena's doing that dribble handoff with the guards up top. West Michigan simply switching that. So if they're not going to take time to capitalize on that mismatch, the dribble handoff is really getting you nothing.
That time, Cochran, I don't think, was going to drive, but she looked up and nobody was in the lane, so she got McGarity on her hip and took it in for the bucket. 9 points for Dovie.
I'd like to see maybe you rejecting the dribble handoff if they're going to switch, do something different.
Or back door on it.
Wow, another turnover. That time, 2 defenders got on Pena. She kind of got stuck on the baseline under the basket, and they knocked it off of her leg. West Michigan will have the ball again, 9-point lead.
And they're winning both the turnover and the rebound battle. There's 4 turnovers to 8, 18 rebounds, so 19 rebounds now to 11.
But Amy, you're spot on. So if that dribble handoff is going to keep switching, there's no point to run it. So either refuse it or backdoor off it, because right now West Michigan's beating them on the backdoor cut. If they can do the same thing and just slip that, they may have
easy looks.
They're going to have to open that floor up a little bit on offense.
Kozlowski, boy, she thought about that a long time, but then sometimes when you don't make up your mind, that happens. A turnover, but then there to get it back was Dovie Cochran. A little bit of contact. She lost the ball. Good job by McGarity to keep that one alive. And San Marcos comes away with the turnover. With the ball.
San Marcos normally scores in transition. They're not able to get that here. This Hornets team disciplined getting back.
Here's Herta. And then we got an offensive foul. They're going to call Beck. Look, that is her 3rd foul.
Look, that's a tough call for Kendall Beck. I'm really liking what she's trying to do there. She's trying to create mismatch and then slip on that. I would go back to that play. Good read, tough call, but I like where her head's at on that.
Yeah, that is a really tough call. They need her out on the floor to compete. We mentioned at the beginning the depth of the Hornets versus the San Marcos Panthers. Definitely a bit of a disadvantage, or probably a big disadvantage.
Yeah.
Nice Iverson cut there.
That's huge. Laskowski will take it all the way in. McGarity's right there, and she got the block. The whistle blew, and she looked a little shocked at that one. And if that's on McGarity, they get her for the slap on the arm. That is her 2nd foul. It'll be 2 more shots.
Can't waste any time. I don't like the body language by all of the Panthers. You can't control that call. I always tell my players you need to take the 50-50 call away out of the ref's hands by making sure you're straight up, don't make contact, and just play on.
Laskowski missed the 2nd. She's got double digits now, though, but here comes
McGarity. Transition.
Boy, it's nice having a big that can take it all the way.
Disciplined play there.
Yeah, ran right into number 15, Ashley Ayers, but good no call. Ball sails out of bounds off of Ayers. It'll stay down here with San Marcos.
I feel like I've said this a million times this week, but that is a good reason why you go off 2, so you have options and don't accidentally get the offensive foul. Nice baseline out of bounds set to get the layup there.
Yeah, we've talked about all night, the Hornets bench, but that time it was Cammie Jackson coming in. Found herself open and made the nice cut. Put that one in for her first 2 points, cuts the lead to 8. On the drive, got too far under the goal.
Good defense by Herta there and rebound.
Herta forced her too far to the baseline, and Cochran shot it under the bottom of the backboard, came down to the Panthers. Here's Herta, gonna set things up, trying to trim into that lead. They're down 8, third quarter. Bullet pass, but that was knocked away by the Hornets. That would have been a tough one for Jackson to be able to pull in, so almost a blessing that it was tipped by the Hornets there. Herta will bring it in under her own basket.
The help was really there. You know, that's a next level type play, is being able to see the help.
Here's Herta again. Boy, she can shoot. Didn't you tell us, Amy, she might be the best three-point shooter you've ever seen?
She is one of them. And like I said, number one and among the leaders, number one last year, among leaders this year in all of the state of Texas, among all players, private, public, or homeschool. So you just literally can't let her shoot.
But as they've done all night, the Hornets immediately run it down the court, and Molly Hunt turns it into a layup, so the lead goes back up to 7. Here's Pena.
San Marcos needs to find some easy buckets. You see how quickly West Michigan got a layup on the back. Right now, San Marcos is living it down on Maddie Herta's deep three-pointers, which is fantastic. She has the ability, but right now we're seeing so few easy buckets out of San Marcos' offense.
Yeah, and with this defense, with the good help, with the overpressure, there's some backdoor cuts available. You got to get some better off-ball movement. They're running some on-ball screens, but I like to see some off-ball screens. Make them play defense. Make them move around.
Yeah, where can you find easy buckets in transition on a backdoor? Anything that would get you some life.
And Jackson almost lost the ball there, but experienced coach Tracy Herta calls a timeout to save that possession. And so right now, with 4:06 to go, we're halfway through this third period. That lead is maintained. It's at 7 points for West Michigan. They've spread out their fouls, but they do have a couple of players, Wyman and Vanderway, both with 2. But on the other side, guys, the Panthers, we talked about it, not very deep. We've got Genovese with 3. We've got Kendall Beck with 3. We've got McGarity with 2. You have to be aggressive to come back. What do you do if you're coaching these girls?
I think we need to try to get out of this quarter with anybody getting their third. And then, so if you're in the fourth quarter and needing to be more aggressive, you can. But Thomas has said it several times, they just don't have enough off-ball movement. They've got to do some things to get easier looks. Everything is tough. Everything is tough. So, you know, teams that are really good on defense, sometimes what they give up is a backdoor cut, or you need some off-ball screens, maybe get some some high-low action when we get back in the game. We've got to do something to get easier looks.
It seems like individually San Marcos should have advantages with Beck and with Herta, yet they're not in positions right now to capitalize on that because they're switching. So at some point, you're going to have Rodimer on Beck if you'll wait and be patient.
Herta from her spot. That time was long.
The other thing is, I don't know, I might go away from so much on the ball screening because they're not getting anything with that.
Molly Hunt got behind the defense. Pena challenged her, and she rolled it off the front. Now Pena's going to push the pace. She's got McGarity, tosses it to her, stops, puts it in. No, it rims out, and then she puts up another shot. Rebound to the Hornets.
Yeah, I think she was looking for the foul instead of going up straight.
Dodged a bullet there, the Hornets. And that was another missed opportunity. Down low by McGarity. She had a point-blank shot, missed it, got her own rebound, and then missed the second.
And definitely looked frustrated there. Like, you know, you get the miss down here, and then you're hoping you get a pretty easy look here. I thought the pass was a little late, though, to McGarity. You get it a half-second quicker on that decision. Pena got a little too far in the paint, so that made it a tougher shot than it needed to be. That was definitely not open.
That time,
tried to force it.
Shea Vanderway reaches around, knocks the pass away. They wanted to find McGarity down on the block. Another turnover. Here come the Hornets. Oh, a bounce pass underneath. She falls down, though, loses the ball, and that'll be a turnover. They had a good idea.
Yeah, Amy, you mentioned it. Right now, San Marcos is content playing mostly on pick and rolls and ball screens, and West Michigan's kind of going the opposite way. Basically, they're doing dribble at backdoor cuts to initiate their offense, and so they're kind of doing battle of styles here, trying to get movement on that offense. I do like this. I would like to see San Marcos kind of go some of this backdoor give and go kind of actions here. So we got another ball screen up here. West Michigan is switching it all. So now,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying now let them play this thing out. Find your advantage and then go to it.
Here's McGarity just behind the free throw line. Oh, and then that time they had Cammie Jackson, but she lost the ball off of her leg, and they're going to say it was tipped. Herta will pick it up. She's got Genovese in the corner, fakes the three. Over to McGarity, who loses it, dives to keep it alive. Pena on the floater, no good. Ball down to Vanderway. Boy, they seem disjointed, unable to get any kind of flow on offense.
I'd maybe like to see, get Pena with the ball, maybe McGarity with the pin down for Herta. She can come up, get a shot off. If she's not open, that'd probably leave McGarity open. You know,
Dovie Cochran for two.
Something, yeah.
Some type of action, correct.
Cochran now with double digits. She's got 11, and the lead now is 9 with 1:45 to go here in the third. The West Michigan Hornets trying to pull off the win over the defending undisputed national champion San Marcos Panthers.
So we talked about this earlier in the broadcast, like defending champions, you kind of envision that they're going to have this kind of ace in their hole to come back, but if you dig a hole too deep, it's going to be hard to dig back out of this thing. So here's San Marcos. You're looking to close this thing down to 5-7 points before the end of this quarter.
Another steal, Vanderway. That pass was a little short.
It was also absolutely not open. She had a defender on her back, a defender in front of her, and a help defender close to her.
Oh, and then on the opposite side of the bucket, there's Aubrey Ayers, her first bucket of the game. The lead now is double digits. Is that a sign maybe of frustration trying to force those passes?
Absolutely, and a sign that there's a lack of help defense. I think McGarity is better in that type of situation. She missed there, but she's better in that type of situation going downhill and attacking. I don't like her trying to have back to the basket just because the help defense is so good.
Well, look, that was a good shot. That's kind of a case in point of she had a mismatch. She made a good move, just missed a shot. But you can see, Scott, to your point, frustration's mounting a little bit.
Yep.
Like with Kayla McGarity there, it was just kind of like, well, you missed a shot. Earlier in the game, she lets that go, but then a frustration foul ensues.
Yeah.
This is a critical moment in this game.
And is that her third? And I think if you're…
So on that one, they ended up, there was some discussion because it looked like it could have been a foul. It also looked like it could have been a travel on Vanderway. The officials decided to just call it a jump ball. Possession came to the Hornets.
Okay, I think
here's Hunt.
Fortunate for the Panthers here, because I don't even think you want 50 seconds with both Beck and McGarity off the court right now.
Vanderway got the offensive board there and just missed it from a foot away. Couldn't get that in, and then McGarity rips off the board. A chance now for San Marcos to cut this lead. They trail by 11 in the waning moments of the third quarter in this girls' national Final Four game. Herta, the All-American, the Maravich Award winner, going to try to lead her team back. Gets it to Genovese. 6 seconds left. Here's Herta. She fires it from long. Got it.
It's exactly what San Marcos need, a rhythm three-point from the best shooter. Big-time shot at a big-time moment. Well done, San Marcos.
If you looked up and somebody told you that the San Marcos Panthers would be happy with an 8-point lead going into the fourth, you wouldn't believe it, but that's what just happened thanks to that three by Herta. We will head to the final quarter of action. It is the West Michigan Hornets trying to pull the upset over the defending national champion San Marcos Panthers. They lead at 37-29. Back with the final quarter of action after this break. Welcome back to Springfield, Missouri, and we could be on the verge of an upset here. The San Marcos Panthers, defending undisputed national champs, coming in at 33-4, find themselves trailing 37-29 to the West Michigan Hornets. Hornets in the black, San Marcos in the white. Panthers on the attack. Here comes Beck. She was on the bench most of the third quarter with 3 fouls. That time her shot is short, but she grabs her own rebound, puts it up, and rolls it in. And that's a good sign for the Panthers. Lead down to 6 now. Boy, that 3 was huge at the end of the third quarter by Herta.
Yeah, they have life now again. Down 6, you're feeling much better. Kendall Beck comes in with a much-needed shot. Way to just kind of impose her will there in the paint.
Good job staying vertical there. She sat out the majority of that quarter, and to end with only being 8 down was an advantage.
Blocked Vanderway's shot, then gets it back on this end. Her shot falls short, and there to clean up the board, Jaden Rodimer. Haven't heard her name in a while. Rodimer's going to run things. Dovie Cochran up top. She drives the All-American over in the corner. There's Laskowski. The 3 bounces high off the rim, comes down, and that's Vanderway, but she can't gather it in. That will be off the Hornets. Ball to the Panthers.
I'd like to see Beck get a step closer to the block and go up towards the rim. Obviously not creating too much contact, you don't want to get a foul, but at least going towards the rim instead of fading away. She has a size advantage, and she's fading away a lot, which is playing into the defense hands, I think.
Well, we've been saying that a lot this game. Like, y'all have advantages. San Marcos does. Get them, find your spots, and use the advantage.
Nice find by Beck.
Yeah, but the help
Pena
defense
backs it
is
out.
there. Yeah.
Here's Genevieve. Haven't heard from her in a while either. The drive, her shot's too strong, but she gets her own board. Pena puts it up. That's short. Rebound comes off to Dovie Cochran. Here come the Hornets. Dovie going to push it a little. She's got Beck back and Herta. Pulls it out. Here's a 3. That's by Rodimer. It's good.
Wisely did not challenge Beck there.
First shot of the game is a 3. Back the other way. Herta for 3. She got it.
That was a much-needed answer. Because you felt like that could switch the momentum. San Marcos has come into this quarter with a little bit of momentum here.
Herta's had 3 3-pointers this quarter, or this half. She has 17 for the game. Her team trailing, though, 40-34 with 5:55 to go. Hornets on the attack again. Long pass by Cochran to Laskowski. Drives to her right, scoops it up with the left. No good, but there to rebound it. Vanderway couldn't get that rebound to go. The shot outside by Cochran, no good. Contact, going to be a foul on Dovie Cochran.
That's a big rebound there by Maddie Herta, running in to get that rebound. They had gotten 2 offensive rebounds in a row. You can't give a good team 3 chances at the basket and expect to not have them score.
Vanderway goes to the bench. She gave him some great minutes, and she kept things alive, but a couple of times she was point-blank range, and you got to wonder if McGarity and also Beck didn't really bother her there. She could not turn those into points. Here comes Herta for the Panthers. They trail it by 6, 5:29 to go.
There.
Had McGarity on the cut. Here's Herta for 3. In and out. Rebound off to Rodimer. She gets tripped. No call. Hunt with the ball.
That was a good no call.
And here they come.
Beck turns opposite of where McGarity was cutting there and never saw it.
Rodimer going to set things up. Little bit of a limp there. Might have hurt her knee. Here's Molly Hunt. Hunt drives it down up the right hand. McGarity rips off the board, but then behind her, Hunt comes back in bounds and knocks it away. Another turnover.
You know, if you're West Michigan, it's kind of like, hey, why are we in a rush? We're up 6. They've had 2 forced possessions right in a row. Slow this thing down and get a good shot. We don't need it.
Oh, I didn't think that.
That time Aubrey Ayers drives it. We got a whistle, and that's going to be on McGarity, and if it is, that's her 3rd.
I think at this point, I go with McGarity, keep her in the game. Even with her 3rd, you can't afford to get down more than you are right now.
We've got 3 players in our books for the Panthers with 3 fouls now. Genevieve, McGarity, and Beck. First free throw is good by Aubrey Ayers. She's got 3 now on the night, and she'll try to build that lead to 8. 4:47 to go. Final period. Girls' Final 4. The winner will go on to face the HEA Firebirds. San Marcos trying to make it a rematch of last year's title game, while West Michigan, they sink the 2nd, trying to make a rematch of a bunch of matchups they've had with HEA in the battle for Michigan for the national championship. We got a whistle and a timeout. We'll keep it here, and 4:41 to go. It is an 8-point lead for the Hornets. If you're the Hornets, if one of you tell me what do you think the Hornets should do, and then the other, what do the Panthers do to try to get this game back?
If you're the Hornets, it's composure. You good shots. You don't need to force anything. We've seen that the last 2-3 possessions. I would say questionable shots, and it's like, why rush? You're in control. You're up 8 points, 4.5 minutes to play. Slow it down, guard like you've guarded, and take good shots.
And how about for the Panthers? Amy Amy.
I think, again, a lot of what we've been talking about. On one of the last 2 possessions, they did finally get a backdoor cut for McGarity there. Beck didn't see it. I'm sure Coach is going to mention that to her. I think I'd like to have, if we want to go ahead and hit the high post, fine. Maybe a backdoor cut over there, a pin down on the other side. We got to get more action all the way around to try to free up. Now, I will say, when you have Maddie Herta on the team,
right.
you're always in contention if it's a 6 or 8 point
right.
game. But I'd like to make it easier for her. When you're that good a shooter, the easier you look, the better. So I'd like to make it easier for her by getting some more action.
And what could be an advantage of the way that the Hornets play such great defense is so far they haven't really done a lot to double team Herta. It seems like they've been content to just play their D. But that may come back to bite them because Herta, like you said, is the kind of player. She's the Maravich Award winner, the Sullivan.
Got a screen for her here on the backside.
She might be able to lead her team back. Pena for 3. Oh, that's huge.
A big-time shot by Pena.
Her first bucket of the game, and the lead down to 5 again.
That worked out. I thought it was kind of a bad decision to go to Pena instead of going straight to Herta when she came around. They went to Beck first.
Yeah.
Not the mistake to Pena. I thought by throwing it to the high post, they missed their chance, but then Pena came up big there on the extra pass.
And mentally, it might have been a thing where the Hornets weren't expecting her to shoot because she didn't.
Travel,
and there's a definite travel there.
And then you just mentioned composure. As far as I know, they have not been in this position before, whereas San Marcos has.
It is a tricky thing. You start feeling the pressure. We're in the last section of the 4th quarter. Now, and there's something to be said for San Marcos has been there, right? You have an expectation to win, and that affects it, right? You're looking at a team now with West Michigan that's kind of new here. San Marcos has been here. This is to their advantage. They can slow it down, get some actions going like Amy mentioned. This is a great stop. You got Kendall Beck at the top.
Beck
Take
from
that
the
shot.
elbow, rolls off.
Yep, that's a look.
Pena goes down
and
with the bigs.
And there's a 50-50 ball that they were not
Herta
getting
for
foul on the 3. The foul on the 3. What a shot by Maddie Herta. I was just about to say, early on, it looks to me like maybe, in retrospect, they were conserving a little energy. On the last few plays, Herta's come down, brought it up, directed traffic, told people where to go, and then has had some Steph Curry-level movement, running down from one corner to the other, all the way up, and freed herself there, and that's something she does a lot.
Herta sinks the free throw and cuts it now to 1. It's as close as they've been since the first half, 42-41.
And Amy, you make a point that came off of actions, her coming all the way around underneath the backside, coming off a stagger screen, then coming up and off a kick out. So they got some movement and actions for an open shot. I don't think it's an accident that you get that kind of open look off the offensive rebound and kick out. So you're starting to get some movement.
With the momentum now. And the Hornets going to have to answer. Now you can see new life for San Marcos. A stop by Rodimer. She spots it up and drains it.
She's here for it. She's ready for the moment.
Rodimer is having herself a ball game.
45-41, under 3 minutes to go. Herta flips it down to McGarity, who spins, drives the lane. Contact, puts it up through it, and finishes.
Big time move. I mean, that could have been an and one. We saw that same play on the left wing just a second ago. She missed the layup. Stayed with it. Now this time on the right, spun back, and a tough finish from McGarity.
Aubrey Ayers with the ball.
You see a little
team
more,
up by 2.
A little more energy on defense now for the Panthers. It's ignited them. Jeremy Caldwell told me at regionals I missed the CHSM San Marcos battle at another game, and he said McGarity in crunch time. It's like she's got those moves, and it doesn't even look like there's a chance for it to go in. She finds a way to get a good shot.
That time Rodimer had a backdoor cut. The other end, Herta comes down. Her 3 is long. They go back to the well. We've seen both teams do it. Rodimer goes the back door, and the Hornets have been doing that the whole game. At the other end, it's been Herta draining the threes, and a huge minutes by Pena. Pena hit that 3 and then was down there among the bigs to keep that ball alive for that 3-point play.
Look, Scott, I know it's kind of like a broken record at this point, but Rodimer should teach a clinic on backdoor passing. Every time she drives right, she's hitting teammates on, and it's opening up possession after possession. San Marcos might as well sag off when they see Rodimer come to the right side because she's not driving. Every time it's a backdoor dime.
Laskowski drove,
Rodimer
now kicks
there
it out.
On the dead ball before they passed it in, connecting with every teammate, making eye contact and telling them 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Looks like the Hornets maybe now going to kill a little clock if they can. Down to 122. Nursing that 4-point lead, desperately trying to hold on, and then McGarity with the reach in. That's going to be her 4th.
So
we are not at the limit, though, so no free throws.
So we have a lot of fouls to give here, 2 fouls to give,
Yeah.
and not a lot of fouls to give in the sense that you don't want to foul out your key players here. So might have to see at some point here some defense to offense substitutions just to take fouls.
Just over 70 seconds left in this one. The Hornets clinging to a 4-point lead over the defending undisputed champion San Marcos. Here's Aubrey Ayers from the corner for 3. Rolls off the front of the rim, but they somehow keep it alive.
I was just about to say that's only a good shot if you make it. And
yeah, Dobie Cochran got it, and then a timeout by Coach Cochran. They're going to talk it over. Guys, less than a minute to go. It's a 4-point lead, and the Panthers have to get the ball back. And it looks like, even though they took a little bit of time off, the Hornets, if they find an open look, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not a fan of changing your whole offensive scheme to air the ball out. That being said, good gracious, you're up 4 with 58 seconds. Why are we rushing 3-point shots?
Yeah.
Hold that thing, make them foul you. They're coming for it. They have to stop the clock. You are in control.
Isn't that what happens when you're young? You know better, but you're like, I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit this.
Yes.
And that's sometimes how you get those magical moments. But, wow, they have given the Panthers everything they can handle, and they are 58.2 seconds away. But if you're the Panthers, they did seem to get a whole lot of life back into them before that 3 was sunk from outside by Rodimer. And you have to expect they're going to go at some point back to Herta.
Well, that's depending. How is San Marcos? First thing, he's got to get a stop or get the ball back.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
If you're in San Marcos' shoes, I think you give it 6-8 seconds to make a steal or play on the ball, and if not, you've got to foul. With only 2 per possession, you have 3 to give before you even put them to the line. So you have a second or 2, a few seconds to make a play on the ball, and if not, you've got to stop the clock.
Maybe try to get a jump ball like the Tennessee Heat did twice to gain possession in tight games.
All right, he got Pena on a foul.
Oh, okay.
On a hold.
Good time to
That's
mention
to be a 3rd foul.
the rebounding advantage here for the Hornets again, 30-22.
Yeah, and this is
that big offensive rebound.
Yep, this possession off of another offensive board. Boy, almost trapped down in the corner there, and then that time grabbed across the arm by Beck, I believe.
I'd like her to try to tie it up, maybe avoid the foul, because if this goes to overtime, you need Beck out there.
That's her 4th.
4th foul on Beck. Next foul will be free throws. We've seen them be able to hit. Oh, Herta fell down, and so Dobie Cochran wisely just keeps it out. 48 seconds. It'll be free throws with the next foul.
San Marcos needs to make a play on the ball and make it fast.
Oh, they got a turnover.
Looked like it went off the arm of Pena. At first, I was with you, Amy. I thought she just threw it out, but the official was right there on top of it. He says it was tipped out of bounds. 40.9 seconds. The lead is 4 for the Hornets over San Marcos.
Normally, I'd say maybe don't guard the ball and trap here, but they'll just go back door again as soon as you pass it in. So
Aubrey Ayers, guard by McGarity, brings it over the timeline.
McGarity has to be careful with her foul trouble. I realize into the game.
34 seconds. Boy, they're just taking time off the clock.
Got to have a defense to offense.
They have to get the ball back. Panthers can't do it, and finally Genovese fouls.
Took way too long.
That's her 4th.
So look, Scott, they let 20 seconds go off the clock that possession.
Wow.
I recognize McGarity can't foul, nor can Beck. But you got if you have no fouls or low fouls on this team, Avery Pena, you've got to take that for the team and stop the clock.
Absolutely. Big free throws here. Laskowski, first one is up, and it's short.
Again, they have not been in this situation quite as much as the Panthers have.
She'll get one more. She's 1 for 3 this half. That one's no good. 1 for 4, but guess what? A rebound inside by Aubrey Ayers, and she's fouled by McGarity, and in frustration, she stands up, and I believe that she's fouled out of the game.
I wish we had replay. I don't see how that happens on an offensive rebound at this point in the game.
Yeah.
You cannot give up a block position like that.
I've done too many games this week where a key offensive rebound happened on a free throw. And this is small things in discipline. I know because you played at a high level. Every time my team is going to the free throw line, not that we're at a huge high level, right? But every time we go to the free throw line, we're communicating which side do we pinch on? Who's get the shooter? Are my feet close to you so I can take one step?
First shot is good by Ayers.
Little things.
It's critical. This point in the game, you cannot make a mental mistake like that. And I didn't see what happened. If it was a spin-off for the offensive player or what happened, or if there's a trip up, but
So there's discussion now because that was somebody's 5th foul, and I believe they called it on Beck. So Beck now is out. It wasn't McGarity. They called it on Beck, and she is done for the night. And what she hopes is not done for her career in high school. Her team trailing by 5 with 23.4 seconds to go. And boy, those offensive rebounds, they've been the difference.
In this particular case, if I'm the coach for San Marcos, I feel like I have to win in regulation.
Aubrey Ayers.
So I can't play for overtime.
4 for 4, 49-43, 19 seconds to go. Panthers on the attack.
And if I'm the
Here's
Hornets,
Herta.
I would have been face guarding her the entire time.
Her 3 is
I
short.
thought that was going to fall.
Tries to chase it
Look
down.
at that hustle play by Herta.
7 seconds. Here's Herta for 3. Got it. Do they have enough time?
No, I don't think they have enough
2.6
time.
seconds. They might add a little more on.
If this was college and you could advance the ball, but let's see. Let's see
What
if
a
there's any
shot
time
by
added on the
Maddie
clock.
Herta. You know, it was predicated by her saving the ball in a hustle play, got it back, and then buried a 3.
Yep.
Now the question's going to be, you have basically a split second to get a steal and then foul. Hopefully they miss their free throws, and then you're on a wing and a prayer at that point for a Hail Mary.
If you're the Hornets, it's in your hands now. If you don't make a turnover, you're probably going to get fouled and hit your free throws. There's nothing that the Panthers can do.
All the Hornets have to do is inbound the ball. Do nothing except get the ball inbound and wait for them to foul you.
Yeah.
Boy, Maddie Herta, what a game. She had 8 points at the half. She has been on fire. Second half, 5 3-pointers. She's got 24 for the game.
And if I'm the San Marcos Panthers, I think it's Rodimer, if I have the name correct, I'm probably doubling her. I don't want the ball to go there. I'm trying to get a 5 count here because if I get it, I'm getting the ball here where I can run,
And then
run
you have a
play.
chance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was interesting in the PT Warriors Heat game the other night. They fouled in the backcourt because they had one to give, which moved the ball up, which gave the Heat a little bit better look there and turned into a phenomenal viral moment for Ben Groth.
All right, here we go. 2.6 seconds. The inbounds. West Michigan under the San Marcos basket. Got to find somebody open. They throw it long and wide open is Ayers. She's just going to hold it. There's a foul, but only 1 second left. And Ayers will be at the free throw line to try to seal it.
And barring some sort of miracle here, if I am not mistaken, I don't know if Jeremy or Paul are over here close, there has been a significant number of undisputed national championships in a row out of the Big South. Dallas Thunder, Lubbock Titans.
Oh, first one's
San
no good.
Marcos. I think we're going to have a new region here on the girls' side, so we'll have to find that out before tomorrow. But it's been a lot in a row.
Ayers sinks the shot. That makes the lead 4 with 1 second left. And guys, that should do it.
That does it. You know what?
Wow.
Credit to San Marcos. After the run last year, that target on your back, and we talked about it earlier in the broadcast, it is hard to win back-to-back. Everyone's gunning for you. You know West Michigan was geared up for this game, and it happens time and time again, and it's just hard. It's hard to win 2 in a row. And well played by San Marcos. They made some adjustments like we were talking about in the second half. They started moving the ball. They started getting some actions off ball, and it was just maybe a little too late, too little too late kind of scenario. But well played. Maddie Herta played a great game. Kendall Beck played hard. I know there's probably some frustrations walking off this court today, but hold your heads up. What a legacy you guys have left.
Wow, and I think, Amy, to answer your question, I don't think a Midwest team has won the girls other than when MHEA used to play out of the Midwest. But in terms of a team from Michigan, as the shot goes errant, that's how it will end. We're going to have a new champion this year, and they're going to be from Michigan. San Marcos Panthers, the undisputed defending champions, go down to the West Michigan Hornets, making their first trip to the national championship game where they will face their cross-state rival, the HEA Firebirds. What a game. We'll be back. We've got now the boys' Final Four action coming up, and we'll have both of those games for you. First one will be the Dash Spartans taking on the San Antonio Patriots in another Battle of Texas. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back right after this break.